Have you ever stood in awe of the Great Pyramids of Giza and wondered, how on earth did they build this without modern machines? No cranes, no trucks, no power tools. Was it aliens? A lost super civilization? The truth is actually far more impressive. It's a story of human ingenuity, incredible organization, and engineering genius that still blows our minds today. So let us travel back 4,500 years and uncover the secrets behind one of humanity's greatest achievements. First, let's wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this project. The Great Pyramid, built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE, is a megastructure in every sense of the word. It's made of roughly 2.3 million stone blocks. The average block weighs between 2 and 3 tons. That's like stacking 1.5 million cars on top of each other, and it gets crazier. Some of the massive granite blocks used for the king's chamber weigh up to 70 tons. Originally soaring to a height of 146.6 meters, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for nearly 4,000 years. All of this was accomplished in just about 20 to 25 years. This wasn't just piling up rocks. It was a project that required a level of planning, organization, and precision that would challenge even modern engineers. So who were the people who pulled off this incredible feat? For centuries, the popular image was of thousands of slaves being whipped under the hot Egyptian sun. But modern archaeology has completely shattered that myth. The pyramids were built by a paid, skilled workforce. How do we know? Archaeologists have discovered entire villages right next to the pyramids. These weren't prisons. They were communities. Inside these villages, they found bakeries capable of producing thousands of loaves of bread a day, remains of high-quality meat like beef and fish, and even medical tools. When they examined the skeletons of the workers, they found evidence of broken bones that had been properly set and healed. This tells us that workers received medical care. They weren't disposable slaves. They were valuable members of a massive national project. It seems the workforce was organized into rotating crews who came to Giza from all over Egypt to contribute. They were well fed, housed, and respected for their craft. Building a pyramid was seen as a great honor, a way to serve their pharaoh and their gods. Now for the big question: how did they move those gigantic stones? Forget about wheels, which weren't used for transport in Egypt at the time. The answer lies in a simpler, yet brilliant, technology: sleds. We have ancient Egyptian wall paintings that show large groups of workers hauling massive statues and blocks on wooden sleds. But here's the clever part. In one famous painting, you can see a person standing at the front of the sled, pouring water onto the sand in its path. For a long time, people weren't sure what this meant. Was it a ceremonial ritual? Then, a team of physicists decided to test it. They recreated the experiment and found that adding a specific small amount of water to the sand makes it stiffer. This drastically reduces the friction, cutting the force needed to pull the sled by nearly 50%. It was a simple, elegant solution to a massive physics problem. The stones themselves were quarried, sometimes hundreds of kilometers away, floated down the Nile River on large boats during the annual flood season, and then transferred to these sleds to be dragged across the desert to the construction site. Okay, so they got the stones to the base of the pyramid. But how did they lift them hundreds of feet into the air? This is one of the most debated topics, but the most widely accepted theory is the use of ramps. No, not a single gigantic straight ramp. A ramp long enough to reach the top of the pyramid at a gentle slope would have been an even bigger construction project than the pyramid itself. Instead, archaeologists believe they used a combination of different ramp systems. One idea is a zigzag ramp, which would switch back and forth on one side of the pyramid. Another is a spiral ramp that would have wrapped around the entire structure like a corkscrew as it went up. But one of the most compelling recent theories is the internal ramp. This model suggests that a large external ramp was used for the lower part of the pyramid, and then a spiral ramp was built inside the pyramid's outer structure to take the blocks the rest of the way up. This would explain why no evidence of a massive external ramp has ever been found. It was either dismantled or absorbed into the structure itself. Workers would have used sheer muscle power, pulling in teams to drag the blocks up these gradual inclines. Moving the stones is one thing, but shaping them is another. The pyramid isn't just a pile of rough rocks. It's made of precisely cut blocks that fit together with incredible accuracy. And they did this using tools made of copper and stone. The ancient Egyptians used copper chisels and saws, which are much softer than the limestone and granite they were working with. So how did it work? For softer limestone, they could saw and chisel away, but it was a slow process. For the super hard granite, they used an even more laborious method. Workers would pound the granite with dolerite, a type of super hard rock, literally pulverizing the surface layer by layer to shape the block. They would also use abrasive powders like quartz sand with their copper saws to grind through the stone. It was a slow, grueling process of abrasion, not cutting. Think of it like using sandpaper on wood, but on a massive industrial scale over decades. This was a testament to their patience and persistence. Perhaps the most mind-boggling aspect of the pyramids is their precision. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned to true north with an accuracy of less than 1/10 of a degree. How did they achieve this without a compass or GPS? The answer lies in the stars. The Egyptians were master astronomers. They likely used a method involving tracking the path of a star as it rose and set, and then bisecting the angle to find a perfect north-south line. For leveling the massive base, they may have dug a network of trenches, filled them with water, and used the water level as a perfectly flat reference point. They used simple but effective tools like plumb lines for verticality and wooden set squares for right angles. This combination of astronomy and simple geometry allowed them to lay a foundation so perfect that it has remained stable for 4.5 millennia. Pulling all of this off required an unprecedented level of organization. This was a project on the scale of a modern-day space program. It required a workforce of 20,000 to 30,000 people, including quarry workers, boatmen, stonemasons, surveyors, engineers, and thousands of laborers. It needed a massive logistics operation to supply food, water, and housing for all these people. It required a system for manufacturing and repairing thousands of tools. The entire project was overseen by a vizier, the pharaoh's second in command, who acted as the chief architect and project manager. The construction of the pyramid wasn't just a building project. It was the central focus of the entire Egyptian state's economy and administration for 2 decades. So with all this evidence, what about the popular myths of aliens or lost, high-tech civilizations? Frankly, there's zero credible evidence to support these ideas. Archaeologists have excavated the sites for over a century. They have found the tools, the workers' villages, the quarries, and even the administrative papyri detailing the work. Everything they've found is consistent with Bronze Age technology. There are no mysterious power sources, no unidentifiable materials, and no signs of machinery beyond what humans could create. The alien theory, while fun for movies, is a disservice to the incredible achievements of the ancient Egyptians. The evidence points overwhelmingly to one conclusion: it was built by humans. Finally, why are the pyramids still standing after 4,500 years of earthquakes, floods, and the relentless passage of time? It comes down to brilliant design and location. The pyramid is one of the most stable geometric shapes in existence. Its enormous weight is distributed perfectly over its wide base, anchoring it to the bedrock. Originally, the pyramids were covered in a smooth casing of highly polished white limestone, which fit together so perfectly you could barely fit a knife blade between the stones. While most of this casing is gone now, it originally protected the inner structure from the elements. And of course, being located in the dry, arid climate of the desert has helped preserve them wonderfully. They are a masterclass in durable architecture. In the end, the pyramids weren't built with alien technology or forgotten magic. They were built with something far more powerful: human ingenuity, collaboration, and a deep understanding of mathematics, engineering, and astronomy. They show us that with a clear vision, immense teamwork, and scientific principles, ancient people were capable of achieving things that seem impossible even today. The Great Pyramid is not a monument to a lost technology, but a timeless monument to the limitless potential of the human spirit. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey back in time as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments what ancient wonder you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.